Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. It is Thursday, so we are talking Turner syndrome. And I know I had another double upload today. I just needed yesterday off, and yeah. So I had it all filmed and ready to edit to go up yesterday, and it just didn't work. We had a pretty full day, and I got home and it was late, and I was like, you know what? I'll just put it up in the morning. So you're getting 2 videos from me today, and I of course cannot miss the Turner syndrome video. And I wanted to talk about something I got requested. First, I want to look at some of the comments from last week. You guys really loved the shirt that I shared, and we're really excited about getting the t-shirts in the campaign. The campaign, I believe, finished yesterday or like last night at midnight. So I hope everybody got theirs. I might be wrong. I will put it in the description box if it actually is today, so you can make sure to get yours today before it ends if it hasn't ended already. I will double check and make sure, but I think it ended yesterday. So I hope you got yours. I'm eagerly awaiting mine. I'm really excited, and yeah, you guys seem to really enjoy it. I love sharing opportunities like that. So if you guys have any other opportunities that you know of for supporting research, just supporting the community, raising awareness, I would love to know and share some more. It was really fun. So leave those in the comments below if you have any. And now for today's topic, I got a request to talk about embryo donation, but I think she meant like embryo adoption. I've touched on embryo adoption a little bit, not actually a huge amount, but I have a little bit. I will link the videos that I've talked about it a little bit. I've never done a full video just dedicated to embryo adoption. It is something that has been a huge thought in my mind since I found out about it. When I first found out about it, I had actually never heard of it before. I didn't know it was a thing, and I was super excited about it after I had heard about it. So I will give some of the information that I have on it, and then I'll link some videos on it that give a little more comprehensive of a description of it, and actually somebody that has gone through it, because obviously we have not. So what embryo adoption is basically when a couple goes through an IVF cycle. They grow as many eggs as they can, they harvest as many eggs as they can, and they fertilize as many eggs as they can, and make as many embryos as possible. And then they go through a lot of different phases, depending on if they're doing a fresh cycle or a frozen cycle, and they end up with a certain amount of embryos. At the end of their IVF journey, when they have as many as they're going to have, or they ended up with way more embryos than they have plans to use, there are a few options for how they can deal with those extra embryos. They can just have them destroyed. They can donate them to science. After whatever science wants to do with them, they destroy them. Or they can adopt them out and give them to another couple that is going through infertility and could possibly have success getting pregnant that way. It is still a full legal adoption. It is still a regular paperwork adoption, but you get the added step of you get pregnant and you carry the baby and you give birth. So there's a whole part of it added to it, and other than that, it's treated like a normal adoption. So it's on paperwork, you sign all of the same papers, and they even talk about siblings on there, and if it'd be open or closed, how involved the family would be afterwards. I think it's probably a lot less likely for the family to want to be super involved in that scenario, but those are conversations that you have. Those are the same kind of things that are figured out, just like a normal adoption. Now, for me, I was thinking of it as in comparison to IVF. Because for us, the biggest and most expensive part, and the part that hinders us the most in infertility and in doing IVF, is needing egg donation. And that kind of takes that step out. It still would not be Andrew's, of course, because the embryo would already be made, but it would allow pregnancy. We could have a baby in that way. We'd go through all of those experiences still, and it would feel like an IVF cycle in the sense that I would prepare for transfer. Once the adoption was final and everything was set for it, we would be working with a clinic to have the embryo transfer and then test 2 weeks later to see if it took and I got pregnant. Then I would be watched throughout the whole pregnancy as normally would happen with me. With anybody, if you don't have issues, you're not going to be watched any closer. But for me, I know I would be watched pretty closely if I got pregnant. So those are some of the things that I was thinking about. Specifically, I was super excited to see how it compared price-wise, because the scariest part of IVF with egg donation is the price. Because of all the medicine, because of it being fresh eggs and doing an egg donor, a live egg donor instead of frozen eggs, it's an outrageous amount of money, thousands and thousands of dollars, and we just don't have that. So I was really excited about it as a possibility to make it a more affordable way to look at for going through pregnancy and getting those experiences still. And it was significantly less than IVF. It was still thousands of dollars, but it was at least half, if not a third, of what IVF with egg donation was. So for us, in the state that we live in, it can vary state by state as far as different costs for different things. It can vary by clinic. It can vary by doctor. All of those kind of things can play into it, and your personal health can play into it also. So how much medicine to prepare for the cycle you might need. Things like that can all play into the price and kind of give a little bit of leniency for that. You know, it can vary. But for the most part, I did not see any price for it that was anywhere near over half what IVF with egg donation was for the prices that we were told. So it is definitely a more affordable option. It's still not cheap. None of the options at all, even traditional matching adoption, is thousands of dollars. So the hope is not to get it free, but it is certainly much more affordable if you have money to put towards it than IVF with egg donation. And it is a great way to encourage embryo donation, as far as like encouraging couples to adopt their embryos out after an IVF cycle instead of having them destroyed. I think one of the most beautiful things is taking, if you take this worldview, is taking that embryo is a child because it's been fertilized. Things have been connected to a point where it's an embryo. It's been conceived. For all intents and purposes, it has been conceived. And so you are taking a child and giving them a chance at life. So it's just another beautiful form of adoption. And I think it's a great, great way to be able to afford something a little different, and it's an amazing option. I'm really super glad we have that option. I don't know if we'll ever do either one, embryo adoption or IVF with egg donation at all. We just don't know yet. We don't know what the future holds in that area. But I love those options. And I specifically was super excited about embryo adoption. I think it's a beautiful thing. I think it's great. And it is treated like a normal adoption. So in some sense, it is still adoption. In most senses, it is still adoption. You just don't get to usually carry the child and give birth to them when you adopt them. But in this case, you do. And it's an amazing thing. So I definitely encourage you to look into it further if it's something you're considering. See what it might cost in your area, because it can vary, and see what it might look like for you. It's a great option if you are interested. I will leave not only other videos on this topic, but I will leave a website in the description box below to the agency that I found that I talked to, it's called Snowflakes. I will leave the link down in the description box that has some information on it from them. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this gave you a little more information on it and helped you understand. If you had any other questions on embryo adoption, please leave them in the comments below and I will try to get to them. If you enjoyed this, give it a thumbs up and share it with everybody. Make sure you are subscribed if you are not already and that you have notifications on. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye!